Hi guys, my name is Connie, and I'm doing a series of Figma to Webflow videos where I show you how I go from Figma to Webflow. I am learning, so on my way you can follow along and I'll show you some videos. So the first thing that we're going to do is take apart this Coinbase site that I took from Figma community. So what you can do is follow along with me. This is going to be a step-by-step tutorial. And yeah, everything's in the description box below, the site to duplicate it so you can reference, and the assets. You'll either need to download through Figma or you can export them individually, or I've done that for you and you can just download it from there. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is open a new Webflow site because we're gonna start from scratch. So we're gonna go to Files and New Design. And as this populates, make sure to have the duplicated Figma site on hand while we're working on this because we're going to be flipping back and forth. And yeah. All right, so the first thing that you want to do is create the desktop background. So you're going to select this little tic-tac-toe in frames. On the right-hand side, you're going to select desktop. So this is our starting point. We're going to stretch it all the way down so we have extra room. All right. So now we're going to work on the navigation bar. So to start off, I'm going to be doing a walkthrough, going back and forth, and then after a while, I might start copying and pasting just so we get the flow into things, and it will be a speedy video. So the background's a little light. I'm going to change the background. So just look the outside, and I'm going to make it a little bit darker. That's because I can see a little bit better. I think that's fine. All right, now we are going to make sure you have your icons on hand. We're going to start dragging Coinbase, the logo, and adding the navigation links. So you want to select T or select this little button up here. We're going to put in price, learn, individual, blah, 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 blah. All right, edit here. Okay, I'm back. Before I cut to copy and pasting and typing all those things out, I'm going to show you how to format this. So after you type in price, your first link, we're going to check out, like you can double click it and you can see that the text is enter semi-bold at 14. So we're going to do that for ours. So make sure it's on enter semi-bold at 14. And then instead of having this giant extra block in the way, we're going to scrunch it up. So it's just around the price. All right, let me zoom in a little bit more. All right, so now what we can do is highlight it, hold Alt, and it'll create a copy of it. So you can do that for all of them. Perfect, now we have all of them, all of the links. Now it's a little bit messy, so we're going to fix that by grouping it all together. So you're going to select Control G to group them. And on the left-hand side, you want to hit Auto Layout and automatically puts them in a line. All right, that's perfect. And also the margin is spaced out at 45. I think that's good. If you want it more or less, you can change this number. You can also hover over it and hold Alt button or whatever it is for Mac. You can hold Alt and just drag it closer or farther, which is amazing. Okay, so we're going to add that to the top. Now we're going to do the same thing for the sign in and the get started button. And the get started simply has a rectangle behind it with a different white color. So let me do that with you real quickly. I'm going to just copy this because it's the same font and it's not grouped together. So this is going to say sign in. Yes, it says sign in. Perfect. And now we're going to create that rectangle by selecting R or a rectangle up here. We're going to have that, and then we're going to fill the color with blue. So how you can do that is simply double click wherever has that blue, copy it here, Control C, and then go back to your design and Control V here, and click enter. Perfect. Now the edges are a little bit round. This one's a little pokey. So we're going to change that and select 5. It's only a little bit. So we're going to shrink it down to whatever size it says, or you can just eyeball it. And I'm going to eyeball it. Control C, Control V, and then we're going to Control X because it's going to cut it out, but we just want it on top. So there you go. Automatically, it's on top. And then we're going to change that to getting started. And we're going to make that white because we can't see when it's behind this blue. So we're going to change this fill to white, and it should show up now. Perfect. And then we're going to use this orange lines to get it centered. Group this together. So that's going to be a button. Keep in habit to start grouping things because that's going to be a lot easier when you start using auto layout, because you need to start grouping things or else things get really messy. So once that button is grouped together, you're going to group these two together. So you're going to Control G and then select login. That's going to be a login. Now you can group it. Now it shouldn't do that. There you go. Now I moved it down. Perfect. All right. So we're going to guesstimate here about like this. It's not going to be perfect, so we can highlight this whole thing, group the entire thing, and auto layout. Now it's all centered. Perfect. And then we want to center it to the whole page. Follow the orange line. Looks amazing. All right. So at the bottom, there's a little gray line. So we're going to create that by either creating a line, or a lot of people, or a lot of videos that I watch, they create a giant rectangle. Make the height like 1. And that is their line. That's how it works. And then I'm gonna move it up. Right there. Okay, perfect. Very faint, but it's there. All right, so we're gonna create the hero section now, and it's gonna be basically composed of a lot of text of different sizes. And we're gonna be doing the same thing, framing it and adding an image. So we're gonna start by grabbing text. It says jumpstart your portfolio. So I'm gonna just type it out. Jumpstart your portfolio. All right. So we're gonna want to wrap the text again because we don't want the extra space. And then we're going to change the fill color to blue. It also saves that blue that you just copied before. And it's not doing that because I didn't highlight it. So blue. Perfect. And the text size, I believe it's 16. You can check it by going back and forth, but yeah. 16 looks good. We're gonna add that little arrow. So we're gonna go back to our little assets, grab that there. You can be out of whack, and then you're gonna highlight it, and then group it, and then you're gonna auto layout, and it's gonna be magic. I love this. And then you can change the sizing because it does look a little far. I'm gonna bring it in a little bit closer. Just like that. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we're gonna add the giant text and then the bottom text, and then, yeah, we're gonna do that. I will walk you through too. So we're gonna add T because we're gonna grab that text. I'm not gonna type everything, so I'm gonna grab it here. All right, jumpstart your, just realize it's the same thing here. No, it's not, it's different. Okay, and now this text is going to be wrapped like we like it, and then size 62. Perfecto. We're gonna actually turn it into a little paragraph because that is how we can start grouping them like this. Yes, and then we're gonna have that here, align it to the other one, line. There you go. All right. And then now we're gonna create that little paragraph at the bottom, that font to 16, because it says 16. 16, is it semi-bold? It looks semi-bold. Okay, it's semi-bold. And then we're gonna paragraph it. It's already grouped very nicely, but if not, you can pull the sides. And we're gonna put it right there. It's not aligning. There you go. Looks good. I'm gonna give it a little more room. All right, so now we're gonna create the email and the button. And because we already created the button, we're gonna copy paste the button because we're not gonna make it again. So we're gonna steal this button. So Control C, Control V, pull that all the way over here. Perfect. Now we're gonna create the email form button by also grabbing a rectangle. I'm gonna just grab this one because it's already here. And then we're gonna get rid of this get started, or you can just create another rectangle if you wanna go through this process. But I figured it's the same size. All right, so we're gonna change the stroke. We're gonna have, it's like a gray color, I believe. Let's see. It has a stroke of 1 and an opacity of 18. So it's just a really light gray. So we're gonna change this to 18. And then we're gonna remove the fill because we don't need it. And then we can extend it a little bit more. Add it here. It is way too long. Extend it. All right, now we need the text that says email. And we're going to do that by stealing this little company sign. And then it's going to say email, address. Let me spell that right. Okay. And it's also going to be a light gray. So we're going to change it to also 18. So it's not, okay, we need to Control X this and it will paste it on top. Ta-da! Okay, so we're going to group this. This is already in a group, so we're going to group all this together. I'm not doing very good at naming everything as I go, but you're supposed to be naming it so you know what they are. So let's do that. Email form. Email form. All right, everything looks good. So we're going to group all of this and say it's content. Hero content. Perfecto. Now we just need the image on the right hand side. So we're going to pull that little phone. We're going to put that here. Move face. Okay. Be like that. Looks good. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to group it. And then let's call it home because it's the front or the home page. Or you can call it section 1. Let's call it section 1. Section 1. Perfect. Now we just finished the first section. And now we're going to go to the second section. Alrighty, so the second section, we're going to add text like we normally do. And then we're going to grab it. And it is 40. I'm going to just copy and paste it because you guys already know how to change the text size and how thick it is. And the format. So you guys are almost professionals now. So I'm gonna just copy and paste it just so it goes a little bit faster. It is going to be centered and it is long and it's not a paragraph. So we're gonna create a copy text and then we're gonna go grab it. I would recommend keep practicing instead of copying and pasting since if you're pretty new to it, it's good practice. All right, looks good. So we're going to group this and call it title. Perfect. Now, as you can see here, the section 2 also composes of an image and these 3 sections. And as you can see, these 3 sections are fairly the same. So you can just create one and then just copy it throughout the other 2. So it's less work. So we're going to get started by grabbing the content. Control T, grabbing manage your portfolio. your. And then we're gonna left align this because everything's aligned to the left. And we're gonna group it together like that. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna group this because the spacing's a little far. So we can do that and go like about 16. Looks good. All right, now we created half of the little mini portion size. This is a cool part, so listen up. We're gonna create the little shadow, little icon thingy by creating an ellipse. Hold shift to make a perfect circle. We're going to add an effect at the very bottom right of the left-hand panel. Select effect, and it'll automatically have a little drop shadow. And to change the drop shadow, you select on the little sun. And then you're going to change this according to the site. Okay, so you're going to hit 10. It's 10, 4, and 25%. You can click enter, and it's going to have basically a little fuzz around everything. Then you're going to change the fill. So what you wanted to do is actually not make it transparent, but make it white. So make the ellipse white, and then make sure the drop shadow is 10 and 4 with the 25% opacity. Perfecto. And then you want to change it back to 40 by 40. So it's a tiny dot. And we're going to drag it right next door, like that. And then we're going to drag in our icons. But before we do that, let's copy and paste all of them. So control. Group these are going to be little icons. So group, group, group. We're going to group, 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 and then one large group. And by doing that, that groups these little two together, or these together, and then now these ones are grouped as a whole. And by grouping it as a whole, if you select the whole group and then you do auto layout, that allows you to control the spacing. If not, everything's gonna be all wonky and yeah, it's not pretty. Here you go, like that. Perfect. Now we are going to add the image on the right-hand side. Where is it? It's a chart. There we go. So we're gonna zoom out a little bit so we can see. My face is in the way. Looks good. I'm gonna center it a bit. Perfect. Now we're gonna group all this. And then we're gonna group this whole thing and name it section 2. Since that is pretty much the same as the title, we're gonna steal it from the title. A lot of web designing or design in general is reusing content. So it's definitely normal to have copy and pasting. When you use Webflow, you'll use classes, this thing called classes, where you get to reuse attributes or assets. And that is definitely going to be useful. Okay, let's move on. So we just copied and pasted that. Let me copy and paste all the content. Pretty much the same. It's the easiest thing to do. And then we have text. That text is size 25, so we haven't had that before. Let's grab this section. We're going to change it to 25 because it says it's 25. We're going to center it like that. And it says secure storage, so we're going to say secure storage. And then the content at the bottom looks good. Everything's a little bit not centered, so we're going to fix that. And then we're going to have that blue text at the bottom as well. Remember how to change it? You just go to the left-hand side and change the fill color. That's how you change it. Alrighty, it's gonna be grouped. I'm gonna group this. I'm gonna try to auto layout. It's centered. Okay, I guess it's centered. And then we're gonna group that too. The auto layout should be centered. All right, looks good. Now we're gonna Alt, paste, and again, and voila. Nearly done with this part. Perfect. And then you just switch out the content and the icons. Voila! Okay, looks good. I think it's a little uneven, so we're gonna group this whole thing. And then it's gonna center itself. There you go, moved over a little bit. Make sure it's in the center of the whole page. And finish section 3. It's pretty good. We're gonna group the whole thing like we normally do. Why is it doing that? It's because I stole it from the other one. Ungroup. There you go. All right, now we're gonna group this. And this is going to be section 3. All right, so the blue banner is pretty much a rectangle with text, text, text. We are really good at doing that. So if we do a rectangle, go like this. What is the height of it? I don't know the height. Let's check the height. So we select here, and then the height is 210. So we're gonna go back and do 210. Close, but not really. All right. We're gonna have the fill to be blue. Content. All right, so this is what we have. Just like that. Okay, so we are gonna group those two together. So we're gonna highlight and group. Right now we have the rectangle highlighted. We don't want the rectangle highlighted. So we're gonna hold shift and just cut that part out. Now it just groups here. Very good hack too, another hack. And then you're gonna group that. That's perfect. And then you can just copy and paste, auto group, auto layout that too. So auto layout, boom, very pretty. Center it, banner is done. All right, so now we're gonna do second to last part. You should have a very good idea of how this works by now. This is copy and pasted from here because it looks exactly the same. So it's gonna be like that. Copy and paste the content. And then group and alt. And then we're gonna grab our vectors. Rectangle, a tiny one like this, probably a height of 2, maybe. Well, that is very, very thin. Let's see, maybe 4. The gray looks a little darker. I'm gonna give it a little bit darker gray so it's visible. Perfecto. We're gonna copy that, put that somewhere here. Oh, what happened? I don't know where that went. Okay, it's gonna be here. Oh, because we put it in the frame already. Dang it, frame. Okay, get rid of this frame. Ungroup. Okay, good. Now it's not too weird. Looks good. Now we can group that. Now we're gonna group this whole thing. Now we're gonna group this entire thing. Perfect, that's our section 4. Perfect. All right, so now we're gonna have the very bottom. This one's a little bit unique since there is a background image. So we're gonna grab that rectangle. We're gonna grab a new rectangle. Let's see what size is that. What's the color of this? Control C. Okay, so that size is like 480. So let's see, is this 480? No, it's not. 480. It's a little bit longer than our original one. So let's extend this. Perfecto. Let's fix that. Okay, so now we're gonna drag our background image. And here you go. The reason why we changed it to this color is because the original background image is that color and we don't want a giant rectangle. So we're gonna make the background that color so it looks like it's faded into it. Another thing that you can do instead of copying and pasting it is is clicking here and then hitting the eyedropper tool, and then you can get that same color. Okay, good. Okay. Coolio. Ungroup. Haha. Okay. It is left aligned. This is not left aligned. Okay. You can also hold this in place by hitting this lock so it doesn't move while you're editing it. So when you highlight it, you won't catch it as well. Alrighty, so we're gonna just manually left align it. And we're going to change the line of that as well. Paragraph. Crypto. Okay. Move that down. And then lastly, we have a button again from the very beginning. We're going to steal that button again. Button, come to me. Oh, no. Oh, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Okay, Control C. And then very bottom, you can grab that and it says start earning instead. Start earning. Is that this? And then we could unlock this, and then we get to group this whole thing and select group. This is now section 6. If this was helpful and a good tutorial, or if anything, you need to explain something better, please let me know in the description down below or in the comments below. Definitely will read those comments and take your tips. Yes, I will be working on more designs. I'll probably create another one after this. Hopefully after each one, it gives you more practice. Also want to give you all the resources available because while I'm learning, I want to share that with you too. So I hope this was helpful. Please give me a like and a subscribe if it was. It really does help. Alrighty, thank you. Bye.